Do you know what the leading cause of death for pregnant people is?
Pregnant people?
Pregnant people? The hell are you talking about, woman?
Women?
If you'd like to call them mothers, not all of them are mothers, but if you'd like to call them that.
What else would they be?
Mothers.
They're pregnant people.
Pregnant people.
What people other than mothers are pregnant?
Does it bother you to use inclusive language?
I prefer
Inclusive
to use precise
language?
It's interesting because you come into this conversation, trying to hold this moral superiority, but then
I try to be moral when I can, but I...
Right, but when I use inclusive language, which it only takes a couple extra syllables to use inclusive language.
To include
and
who?
It seems to include people who...
Inclusive language? I'll have some inclusive language here. You know what? I think your acronym should be SIMMER, honey. SIMMER. Inclusive language. SIMMER. SIMR. Stupid, idiotic, moronic, retarded. How's that, huh? Right? Just took me a few extra consonants to put in there. A vowel.
Background. I was at UCLA in political science and then Harvard Law School.
You wouldn't consider yourself an expert in sociology?
I mean, I don't consider sociology a particularly expert field, but go ahead. I think I'm able to read a sociological study.
What I'm getting at is that you're not considered an expert in sociology, psychology, gender studies.
If you want to take issue with the argument, I would urge you not to use the argument from authority, which is somebody has a PhD by their name, they know what they're talking about. That's a dumb argument. I don't need a 7-year degree in sociology, no bullshit when I hear it.
You're also offering kind of an unqualified opinion on a lot of these topics.
See, again, you're just making the argument from authority. I don't think slapping a PhD from Ferris State next to your name makes you an expert in all things in the field in which you propose to speak. Either my argument's good or my argument's bad. Citing to my credentials is a really bad way of making an argument.
But ma'am,
Don't assume my gender.
yeah, don't do that. Don't assume your gender. What are your pronouns then?
They and Z and princess.
Princess? Damn.
She got taken there. Checkmate, checkmate, checkmate.
What are you?
checkmate.
I'm a cisgendered man.
What does that mean?
So that means if you were born a woman and therefore you still identify as a woman, so you're a cisgendered woman, I would say.
And that's because of my physical femaleness.
You identify with how you
What am I?
originally. Well, I assume you're a cisgendered
I'm not a
man,
cis anything,
if
mate.
I may assume.
I'm not a cis anything. I'm just a man.
Well, no, but you're a cisgendered man.
No, I'm not a cisgendered anything.
But hang on.
What does cis mean?
Well, that means that you were born the way that you identify
No,
now.
I'm just born a man.
But someone who transitions.
Why are you
to be a
insisting
man-
on calling me something I'm not?
Well, you can refer to yourself as just a man if you like, but
Most people identify as male or female, man or woman.
that's right. The vast majority of people. But that doesn't mean that there aren't
But
other
that
people
doesn't
who identify
mean-
differently.
There are
lots
100
of
different
other
genders
identities.
on this BBC list, apparently.
Incredible. God,
You can be racist against certain groups. And yes, you might be a sellout. You might be whatever.
Oh my God.
Thank you. Thank you. I'm glad that I know that if I don't agree with you, I'm a sellout and I'm not good enough for my Latinos and I'm not good enough for my father, for my grandfather that escaped Cuba. Thank you.
Oh, owned, baby. The guy got owned.
I know you're so oppressed, my dears. I know life is so hard for you. You have to live in the richest, most equitable, most just country in the history of the world. You have to get a college education. You have to voluntarily go to lectures. It's so awful. I can't imagine. You know, the people who are in war-torn nations, they must truly pity you. Goodbye then.
Goodbye.
There was another tweet that said, the Democratic Party is comprised of racist white liberals.
That is correct.
Am I a racist white liberal?
Well, let's go back.
Yes, you are.
And let's say, I will say this, that many
call a
people in the
spade a
party
spade.
are not aware of their own racism. Let's go back to an early part of this conversation where you said to me, are you concerned about the color in the White House? Why would you ask me that question?
Because
you think I'm a lesbian?
No, but why would you ask me? But let's get to really the nucleus of this. Why did you ask me that question today?
Because
why did you feel that I needed to be
perspective.
concerned about that?
Because you're bringing a whole group of young African American leaders to the White House.
Okay, so this is something.
Because she probably thought you were a black lesbian. And she was asking you about color, meaning that, what'd you think of the color coordination in the White House? Come on, Candace. You can't be calling her a white, racist liberal. She was just asking you, basically, what you thought of the colorization of the White House there, with the carpets, the furniture, the cloth, the fabric, the paint. Come on, Candace.
Something that I talk about often is that in many many ways, white liberals don't realize that you put on that the racism and the conversations that we have.
So you're saying I'm a racist?
You haven't let me finish my statement. You keep cutting me off.
Go ahead.
Okay. The emphasis that you place is always on having a discussion about race. Okay. You guys are insistent on having a conversation about race and telling us that we should see and implying that we should see race everywhere. And I don't agree with that. If you don't look at me according to the color of my skin, you would simply ask me how I thought that Trump was doing as a president. But instead, you try to drum up a conversation that's surrounded by race by asking me, are there enough black people in the White House?
You're bringing a whole group of young black leaders to the White House.
Color, I
Who
don't.
cares? Who cares if they're black leaders? They're just
Are you
leaders.
happy being that way?
Oh, yeah. my life is better. Because I can be close with another man. I could walk hand in hand with him. And I'm feeling an incredibly close and good connection, but I'm not worried about somebody saying I'm gay.
I don't think you're gay, but you seem to be more woman than you are man. Have you noticed that?
I disagree.
But all of your qualities are that of a woman. You don't have any manly quality.
Do you know what the leading cause of death for pregnant people is?
Pregnant people?
Pregnant people? The hell are you talking about, woman?
Women?
If you'd like to call them mothers, not all of them are mothers, but if you'd like to call them that.
What else would they be?
They're pregnant people.
Pregnant people.
What people other than mothers are pregnant?
Does it bother you to use inclusive language?
I prefer
Inclusive
precise
language?
It's interesting because you come into this conversation, trying to hold this moral superiority, but then when I
try to be moral when I can, but I...
Right, but when I use inclusive language, which it only takes a couple extra syllables to use inclusive language,
To include
and
who?
it seems to include people who...
Inclusive language? I'll have some inclusive language here. You know what? I think your acronym should be SIMMER, honey. SIMMER. Inclusive language. SIMMER. SIMR. Stupid, idiotic, moronic, retarded. How's that, huh? Right? Just took me a few extra consonants to put in there. A vowel. 3 consonants. How's that? Is that good enough for you, lady?
who don't identify as women but can become pregnant.
Who are those?
Sure. So what you're basically saying is rejecting English is rejecting the Constitution.
I'm saying rejecting a common culture in the United States renders the Constitution meaningless. In the case of the English language, it literally renders it meaningless. You wouldn't be able to read it.
Check and made.
Translate it for me.
How do you know it's correct?
I'm a little skeptical of that translator. Obviously, I speak multiple languages. I assume people in this room speak multiple languages. I love reading literature in other languages. I like going to certain bakeries and speaking in French or speaking in Italian. That's a wonderful thing. The question is, how do we conduct ourselves as a country? How do we conduct our systems of government? How do we conduct diplomacy? How do we conduct the law? Beyond just the question of language, which is really a symbol of so many other cultural questions. What do we have in common? If we don't have a shared, we've already established that American is not a particular ethnicity. American is not a particular race. There have been so many different races and ethnicities that have been involved in the settling, founding, and establishment of the country. So if it's not a race, if it's not an ethnicity, and if we don't have a shared language, and if we don't have a shared culture,
Michael makes a great point. America's an idea. There's no DNA to it. It's not an ethnicity. It's not a heritage. It's an idea. Anybody can become American. I couldn't go to Japan, let's say, and live there for 20, 30 years. I might be able to apply for a passport or citizenship in Japan. Maybe they give it to me, maybe they don't. And if they do give it to me, I got a passport from Japan. It says I'm a Japanese citizen. But am I really Japanese? Of course I'm not. Japanese is a race. Same thing for China. If I went to China, can I become Chinese? No, can't become Chinese. Can I become German? No, I can't become German. But anybody from anywhere around the world can come to America. Any race, any creed, any color, any heritage, any ethnicity, any DNA, whatever it is. Live here, obey the laws, gain citizenship, and then proudly call themselves an American. That's the way this is. And we have to have some common things that bind us together. The compact that we make lives in a community according to certain laws and regulations. What we look at in terms of the founding documents, the founding of this nation, the symbols of this nation, a flag, a song, an identity that this is, freedom, independence, the rule of law, First Amendment, the Bill of Rights, the Constitution, the founding declarations, all of those, body of government, a constitutional republic, all of these things people have to agree to abide by. That's what makes you be American. But you can still have your heritage. And that's why I don't like hyphenations. I say American first, and then if you want, American Chinese, American Japanese, American Indian, American Middle Eastern, American Jewish, American blank, 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 whatever it is you want to fill in, and go from there. Anyways, folks, we appreciate you taking the time to watch. You've been watching the Dr. Nasser Sheikh Show. I've been your host. My name is Dr. Nasser. If you've been done so already, we'd love for you to subscribe to the channel, like, share, and follow. You all know what to do. Take a look at our video links above and below. Comment below. Let me know what you think. I'll leave with my final thought, which is, when you're right, and when you're left, you're wrong. Until next time, folks, take care and stay safe.